All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lori Swanson here, CEO of InspireTech and founder of Career Alchemy Academy. You can learn more about that by following the QR code over my shoulder, one of them. And I just have to say, I had a friend email me who comes and often is, listening to the LinkedIn lives that I'm doing here on Career Alchemy. And she said, it's like a shot of espresso for my career. She said, I just always get a little tidbit or something motivational or inspirational. So even though I call it Career Alchemy, the live broadcast, but it's also your shot of espresso for your career. So I'm seeing some rebranding happening in my future. Who knows? Who knows? Or at least a little image of an espresso shot, right? What else can I say? So let's just get started. Today, I want to talk to you about being the breadcrumb in somebody's career. So how this all started is a real feel-good moment for me, right? I received an email from someone I had spoken to who was, around coaching, or I was coaching with her, and she sent me an email, and she said that, well, let me just read it. So what she said was, Lori, I wanted to update you on my job news. After speaking with you, I opened my LinkedIn to recruiters and someone contacted me. Long story short, that led to a 6-week interview process for a job that I would never have thought I was qualified for. And what do you know? I got it. And then she went on to say, you were the first in a series of events that felt like breadcrumbs leading me on my way. Thank you for your wisdom and encouragement. You are great at what you do. So who doesn't like to hear they're great at what they do? But even more than that, just a simple suggestion led to, she was pivoting her career. This is a big pivot for her, actually. And it's a chief role, and where, she wasn't in a chief role, right? And this was the next step for her, but she had been holding herself back literally for years. And on the call, our first call together, uh, you know, I made a suggestion. She followed that breadcrumb and created this opportunity for herself, in 6 weeks, where she'd been waiting and hesitating for years. And that's how powerful your breadcrumb of encouragement, your breadcrumb of belief in someone, your breadcrumb of an idea, of a nudge, right? That's how powerful that can be. And I honestly, you know, sometimes I suspect we don't even realize that we're being a breadcrumb for somebody when we do. We don't often hear back about an impact just a small idea or suggestion might have made. And so, it not only was it heartwarming for me, but it was a reminder that a simple little breadcrumb can make a huge difference for someone. And it reminded me of, like, we all feel afraid, right? I've been afraid, you've been afraid, especially in our careers, taking a leap. Again, she'd been thinking about it, percolating, dreaming about it, yearning for it, yet fear was getting in her way. And I think just a simple sort of story example, not necessarily directly career related, but does relate to career. I'll get, how I am. I'll get there. But is karaoke. So if you know me, you would know that I love karaoke. I love singing. I am an average singer, but it brings me just visceral joy. Like, my body, my soul loves to sing to the radio, in the shower, around the house. And I love karaoke. Asked for a karaoke machine for Christmas many, many years ago. Actually, I didn't even ask for it. My sister, Debbie, gave it to me, surprised me with it, like the perfect she came up with some really, she gave me a bowling ball once with my initials on it. For my birthday every year, we do birthday bowling. And genius idea to give me my own birthday ball. And now she gave me this. Back then, karaoke was not like it is now, that it was something you did at events, but you didn't have these personal machines. But she gave me this cute little thing that came with some discs, and you couldn't connect it to your smart TV at that point, and didn't really have a great speaker, but it had a microphone and it had some songs, and I could watch the words on this little micro screen. Um, and then more recently, last year, I asked for the upscale karaoke machine. And my husband and I had we just called it the bash, for no reason other than it had been years and years and years since we had gathered all of our friends together. We were always the party people. We always had the events. And it had been so long since we'd done that. We just decided we were going to do it, and just invite all our friends to come. And I said, besides a porta potty, we have to have a karaoke machine. And we did. We ended up renting a venue in the end because I just couldn't imagine putting porta potties in the yard. So we rented a venue, and I spent way too much time with the microphone doing karaoke. But I have to tell you, there's an in-between story where in my younger days, and the reason my sister knew to get me a karaoke machine is we would go to bars and we would do karaoke, and I would love to get up there, no problem. And then I went with a couple of friends, maybe 15 years ago. It'd been a long time since I'd done karaoke, and we went, and I was so looking forward to it. And I got up on stage, and my voice was shaking. So I was just so scared. The big difference was I used to drink, and then I didn't anymore. And it was like my first venture outside of my home, in front of a live audience, without the help of alcohol. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to drink. So are my karaoke in public days over? Um, like I was, the joy is gone, the joy is gone. And so, but some years go by, and then I'm out with a bunch of friends again, and karaoke is happening. And my friend leans over and says to me, Lori, get up there and sing Patsy Cline. You are great at Patsy Cline. You love the song Crazy. Just do it. And of course, I'd been sitting there in my head thinking, well, if I were going to do it, I'd sing Crazy by Patsy Cline. And that nudge got me on stage. My voice did not waver. I was back in my joy. And then had a bash where we had karaoke, and I did way too much of it in front of friends and family, not giving anyone else a chance, because I love it so much, right? But I think the whole thing was that, it was like just one person with her belief in me, her nudge, and a reminder of what I love and reminder of what I'm capable of. That belief got me on stage. And from there, it also, tying it back to career, doing things like that outside of your everyday work, and finding other ways to build the muscles, right? The confidence muscle, the taking a little bit of a risk muscle, that carries over. I then started thinking to myself, you've been wanting to do more speaking, but you do get nervous. But you also get compliments. And so even though I am nervous ahead of speaking events, I usually do a pretty good job. Yet I've been holding myself back. And that experience with the karaoke started giving me the confidence I needed in my career to get on stage and do more speaking and moderating of panels and things like that, which is an area I continue to pursue in case anyone is looking for a speaker with regards to career and career coaching, and what else can I talk about? Confidence and spirit-centered solutions and wayfinding and pivoting and repositioning. You want me to talk to your women ERG groups? I'm happy to do that. And I will tell you that um, even me saying that here live on LinkedIn and making that ask is something I probably wouldn't have done several years ago. I would have been too shy, really. I'm not shy necessarily, but things like this, nor that would have I would have been like, oh, who am I to ask? And I don't even know how many people might see this, but who am I to ask for that? Well, I am the person who does that now because I can sing karaoke, Patsy Cline, live in front of many, many people. I can speak on stage and deliver a really impactful message. So DM me, or if you're out on YouTube, send me a message, and I'm happy to talk about talking. That sidetrack, bringing us back. So bottom line is, after that karaoke experience, I did feel proud of myself. I felt more confident. I definitely felt more willing to get back up and sing another non-Patsy Cline song. Plus, I carried over. It wasn't just that night, that breadcrumb, that nudge from my friend carried over into my career and continues to. I haven't lost that lesson, like that I can do scary things, or that I guess that's kind of it, that what I want, what I yearn for, if that desire is there, then also the courage I need to raise my hand and you know pursue it is also available to me. But a breadcrumb helps. There's a real ripple effect that happens when when you give a small gesture, a breadcrumb of guidance or encouragement to people in who you are, whenever you're able to do it, someone someone you don't know, someone you supervise, someone that you're a colleague, someone in one of your ERG groups, or at the place you volunteer at. I mean, there's so many opportunities to be the breadcrumb for someone. And sometimes all it takes is that one conversation, that one nudge, that one idea that helps someone to get out of the yearning, the desire, and actually take action. So I think that uh, you know what a breadcrumb might look like in the corporate world, in the career, is that it can be very, very simple. Like, it might be listening deeply to someone's aspirations and doubts and encouraging their aspirations. It might be encouraging them to take action even though it feels scary. It could be sharing resources with people. That could be a really good breadcrumb, a connection. Make a connection with somebody. It doesn't take a lot of time. Like I said, very simple. Like, I just had one of my coaching clients is looking to, in her role, she's a vice president, looking to work more strategically with other departments in her organization, specifically risk and compliance. And she said, I just feel like there's better ways we could partner. And I said, I have another client that I coached who is in charge of risk and compliance, and what we spent a year working on, one of the things that we spent a year working on was how to lift the role of internal audit and risk into a more strategic function, and how to communicate that to the leadership and the board when the opportunity arose, and preparing for those things. And I said, you two need to talk. So it took me one quick email to my past coaching client to see if they were open and willing, got the yes, and then it just took me that was late yesterday, and then I got the yes, and this morning I sent the connection request and said, now you two take it from here. And that could be a breadcrumb that could shift everything in my current clients' um, uh, influence in her organization. It could raise her visibility within the executive team and the board of her organization. It's creating relationships. Like I always talk about expanding your relationship matrix within your organization, and it could do that as well for her. Just my little idea of who she should talk to, and being that breadcrumb and connecting, making the trail between those two, right? The trail of one breadcrumb. So celebrating small wins or big wins with people can help to build confidence and give them what they need to keep building on whatever that win might have been, in their career. Like maybe they did raise their hand at a meeting and speak up about something, offer up an idea, and you can be the person that acknowledges the idea and says, this is worth vetting, let's do that. And wherever it goes, doesn't matter. You've given them that breadcrumb they need to raise their hand again. So few words of encouragement, showing that you believe in someone, that it's just nice to know someone's kind of like, you can do this. I believe in you. Go for it. It goes such a long way. So share your wisdom, make introductions, affirm someone's abilities, build someone's belief in themselves. Your breadcrumbs can inspire courage. They can inspire action. They create possibility for someone. They can start a chain of events, like the email that I got that leads to the interview, that leads to the offer, that leads to her dream role. And, it could actually, I don't know who out there, but maybe it could get me a spot on The Voice. I'm only kidding. A girl can dream. I couldn't even imagine being on The Voice, but I would sing crazy. If my first song, I think it could get me a cheer turn. And then after that, it's kind of downhill. Like crazy is my peak. And but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try. I always think to myself, if I had the right coach, and maybe you think that too. Like if you had the right career coach, you could make like magic in your career. And I always think if I had the right voice coach and I could maybe get past the first round, right? So I could be that coach for you. So definitely let's connect. But overall, just be the breadcrumb, inspire courage, inspire confidence, create possibilities, bring ideas, whatever that breadcrumb looks, whatever it looks like, um, you know, make that kind of an objective every day, perhaps. Like, how can I be someone's breadcrumb today? And those breadcrumbs, create a trail of goodwill that, you know, that just at the end of your career, now I'm going to cry. At the end of your career, you can look. It's sort of like the Steve Jobs quote where he says, "You don't know the picture until you connect, or the path till you connect the dots, looking backwards." But the same is true for this trail of breadcrumbs. Like, just imagine you know, um, closing the book on your career life, or just that particular company that you're working for, and you're moving on to another company, but being able to look at the time you spent with that company, whether it's 1 year or 10, and thinking, eh, imagining all the people you've met, all the meetings you've been a part of, all the projects that you've, led or you know, supported, and all the ways that you were a breadcrumb, because you made being a breadcrumb part of your daily agenda. And then you get to look back and see that trail and just feel really, really good about yourself, and the goodwill and the encouragement and the courage and the, uh, you know, nudges to action that you were able to be a part of. Like, that's a successful career. That's a successful career. So be the breadcrumb, and uh, come out to the website, schedule a call with me. Let's talk about either working together one-on-one or being part of the magic that happens inside of Career Alchemy Academy. I'd love to meet you and be your breadcrumb. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace as usual. And I'll see you here next week. I think it's the same time all month this month. I do not have any networking events that would change the time this month. So I'm pretty much sure we're 1 o'clock Central Time. So be here and get your shot of espresso for your career. Thank you so much.